welcome to Life is Horror episode 13. This will be the top 13 horror movies of 2013 and many reviews for Shifted and Kids vs. Aliens. But first, let's go over a few upcoming horror movie announcements. And also, if I remember, I'll try to talk some 2010 honorable mentions because I didn't talk about any of my 2010 honorable mentions in that video. So I'll try to make up for that in this video if I remember. So, upcoming horror movies. So Demon Wind, the 1990 cheesy, low budget Evil Dead ripoff, is finally getting a sequel, and it's got a new director, and it starts crowdfunding this summer. So it's going to be called Demon Wind 2: The Serpent's Coil. Now, I actually just watched the first Demon Wind sometime in the last year, and it's really ridiculous. Yeah, I check it out. I think it's on Tubi. It's basically like an Evil Dead ripoff, but it's even more silly and low budget and just really dumb in a good way. So, another movie, The Conjuring 4. There will be a Conjuring 4 now, and it's called officially The Conjuring Last Rites. Rites being Rites. And it's going to have the same writers as The Conjuring 2 and 3, and I believe the same director as La Llorona, or, I think The Conjuring 3 also. So it's going to have the same director as Conjuring 3, I believe. It's not going to have James Wan back again, which is a shame. I wish he'd direct more because he's my favorite horror director. And another movie, I think I've already talked about it, but we got another update about A Quiet Place Day 1, the Quiet Place prequel, coming out next March. As of now, that could be pushed. You never know. But update is that it's now set in New York City. So I'm not sure where the other two took place, but this one's going to be in the Big Apple, just like the last Scream movie. So that seems to be a new trend now. Everything's going to be in New York City. Will they actually shoot in New York City? That's the bigger question, because Scream 6 did not shoot in New York City. I wonder if this movie will. But yeah, I already talked about the casting the last time I talked about this movie. It's going to have the actress from Us, and I read also Alex Wolff from Hereditary is going to appear in it. And that one actor from the second movie on the island that they go to, he's coming back, so I guess they'll explore that guy's family in this one. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. It's a good pair of movies, and it's going to be a trilogy now. And so yeah, looking forward to A Quiet Place Day 1. And that's all I'll talk about in this video. I'll save everything else for future videos. So let's jump into the mini reviews. And because I haven't seen these movies in so long, I have to basically read my notes because I can't speak about these movies off the top of my head. I don't remember shit. I have a very bad memory. So, Shifted. That's what we're going to talk about now. Shifted. I think this is streaming currently on Screambox on Prime. So yeah, I think that's where I watched it. It was either that or Shudder. I'm pretty sure it was Screambox. Shifted. What is this movie about? Directed by Adrian Constant. To those of us left is the tagline. All right, strange, murderous creatures roam the streets. A group of neighbors are trapped inside a house, leaving means certain death. Oh yeah, I don't know why I was having trouble reading that. Leaving means certain death. Okay, so if they leave the house, they're gonna die. Sorry, I'm a bad reader. How are they going to survive when someone inside the house starts killing the others? There's more to it, but I'll just leave it there. All right, so it's like a post-apocalyptic world. Some kind of virus or something's going on. Everyone outside is dead. They can't leave the house, but then there's a killer inside the house. So they go out, they die. If they stay in, they die because one of them can't be trusted. One of them's a murderer. So this movie kind of reminded me a little bit of Werewolves Within, because that's another movie where people are stuck in one house and it's winter. This movie takes place in the winter also. This is a Canadian film. And I wish this movie was much more like Werewolves Within. Comedic, very funny, silly, wacky, colorful characters. This is the opposite. This is a serious movie. The acting is fine. There's no humor. It's played straight. And interesting also, it's like it's a virus movie, but it could also be like an alien movie because of how the people look like when they're affected, how they're behaving. Like they don't explain where the virus came from, how it started, what exactly is going on. But this virus makes them blind, and so they're hunting by sound, and they also kind of sound like the clickers in Last of Us. They make weird noises. There's lots of paranoia and tension. Once the bodies start piling up inside it, they don't know who to trust. Now, it's almost like a Agatha Christie like mystery whodunit for the characters because they don't know who's killing, but us as the audience, we know who's killing because they show you. So that's the big mistake here. This movie is not a very engaging, like, a suspenseful mystery where you're really trying to figure out who it could be because they let you know early on who's killing everybody. I don't know why. That was just a weird direction to take the story. Like, the to present it that way. Like, why not make it a actual who done it mystery to make it more, engaging? Because yeah, I don't like that they just show you. There's hardly any gore. Um, what else here? It's all in one two-story house during winter, and the film looks kind of dull. I wasn't crazy about the look of the film. It's pretty low budget, and there's some CGI, and there's like weird like spider things coming out of their mouth, the infected. So yeah, this movie just should have been way more fun. I wish in a mystery like that. They needed it to be a mystery, not tell us who the killer is, and also give us more gore or better creature effects. Or the things that come out of their mouth. It was just bad CG. Didn't look that good, and yeah, I just wish there was more humor in it or something to make it more entertaining because I was just kind of bored with this movie. I gave it a 5 out of 10. It's very meh, just average, infection movie. A weird way to tell a mystery. Like I'm really baffled by that. I don't know why they decided to expose who the killer was so early. But yeah. So next movie, let's get rid. I already got rid of it. I got. I don't know when that happened. So the poster was gone. Kids versus Aliens. Let's talk about this movie. So this is from director Eisner, Jason Eisner, I think, a hobo with a shotgun, and he did the segment, which this is the movie version of that segment. The segment in VHS 2. This is the movie based on that segment in VHS 2, and trying to find where it's at on my list here. So bear with me. There it is. All right. So Kids versus Aliens by Jason Eisner. All Gary wants is to make awesome home movies with his best buds. All his older sister Samantha wants to do is hang with the cool kids. I hate these synopses. They're so like long-winded. They don't get to the point. When their parents head out of town one Halloween weekend, an all-time rager of a teen house party turns to terror when aliens attack, forcing the siblings to band together to survive the night. So yeah, a short, very short movie. I think it's only like 75 minutes or so, like less than 80 minutes. It's very quick, short paced, fast. Alien film based on the segment, like I said. Some similarities too. There's a lot of things borrowed from that segment in here. It has a very like retro look, kind of like a VHS grainy look to it, and very 80s style score. That hardly ever lets up. So the music in this movie hardly ever lets up. Once this music starts, it just keeps playing and playing and playing. There's hardly any moments in this movie where there's no music to listen to. It's just constant. 90% of the movie is scored, like I just said. Sorry, which can be a tad annoying. The last act is relentless, loud, but could have been better. They missed an opportunity for carnage at the party. Yeah, the aliens attack. There's like 50 people at this house party, and the aliens arrive, and it's like over before you know it. And the aliens only like they kidnap a couple of them, and I was expecting the aliens to like wreck shit, they like tear the house up and kill some of those shitty teenagers. And they really set this one guy up to be such an asshole. He's a really over the top prick teenager that you just want dead early on. Um, Sam quickly turns on her brother because of a crush. It's one of those movies where a girl falls in love like that. She's instantly like planning their wedding. So she falls in love with this asshole and quickly learns how much of an asshole he is, like homicidal a little bit. I was shocked Billy stabbed a kid with a sword. Yeah, there's some kid death in this movie, so extra points there. There's a couple cheesy dramatic scenes. Not the best child actors, unfortunately. Downbeat ending where the secret government comes in and there's like a firing squad. I've seen it, it's been here, done that. That seems to be kind of a trope. I've seen a lot of like alien movies where it ends with the government stepping in and they're cleaning up the mess. They don't want anybody to find out that aliens exist, so they gotta shoot everybody who's witness to what just happened. Kind of like that one movie, Extraterrestrial, just to name another one. Spoiler, but they all seem to end that way. It's always the government that's the bad guy, right? So nothing really original here, but still fun. There's some decent body melt gore, but that's really about it in terms of gore. So don't expect a lot of violence and gore in this movie. But like I said, it's fast paced. It's not a waste of time. It's entertaining. Just wish it could have been better. I just wish a lot more happened in the third act, like towards the end, and give us a different ending. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about Kids versus Aliens. Check it out. I think it's streaming on Shudder. Now let's get into my top 13. Get your pens out and write these titles down in case you haven't seen them. Let's talk about my number 13. And I guess I should say first though, like I said in my other videos, in case you haven't watched those, what I'm doing is I'm only listing movies that got wide releases in 2013. So you might hear some movies here that when you look them up, they'll say that they came out in 2012 or 2011, but they got a wide release, and I wasn't able to see them until 2013. So, and let's see, I even wrote down how many of these films aren't going to be listed as 2013. So 7 of my top 13 aren't listed as 2013. And I watched 50 movies in total from 2013. And of those movies on this list, 18 of them aren't listed as 2013. In fact, 23 movies that were listed as 2013, I had to kick off this list because I found out they actually got wide released later. So yeah, it's annoying. I had to do like all this fucking research to make these lists as accurate as possible, like when these movies actually got released. Uh, remember the good old days when movies actually just came out right away? They didn't have to go to film festivals for 2-3 years. Like I got movies listed as 2007 that will come up in 2014. It's ridiculous. So top 13, number 13, Stitches. I actually got a review for this one. Very fun film. It's a slasher, supernatural slasher, creative kills, lots of gore, super goofy. It's a lot of fun. Let's do this right. All right. 12, World War Z with Brad Pitt. This is a zombie movie, of course, and just saw it for the first time last year, and I had a lot of fun with it. I don't remember too much about it. I just remember there was an interesting thing they threw in at the end, the explanation about why certain people aren't getting attacked by the zombies. What makes you immune to them. I believe it was like if you're sick, if you got cancer, the zombies leave you alone or something. So that was new. But outside of that, the rest of it's kind of basic zombie stuff, but it's good. Big budget zombie film. World War Z, that's my number 12. Number 11, low budget indie film, Resolution. This is from filmmakers Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson. They're 2 filmmakers that always write and direct and act in their films. And so, yeah, they're very talented, and you should see their other movies. Spring Synchronic, I think, is the other one, and The Endless. Very good movies. But this one, it's basically, what's it about? Let me just read the synopsis. A man imprisons his estranged junkie friend in an isolated cabin in the boonies of San Diego to force him through a week of sobriety, but the events of that week are being mysteriously manipulated. So yeah, very interesting film. Unique. Check it out. Hatchet 3. Big fan of the Hatchet franchise. I reviewed these movies twice. Just big body count, lots of gore, creative kills, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It's fast paced. If you like slashers and you haven't seen the Hatchet movies for some reason, you gotta check them out. Hatchet 3, my favorite of the sequels. Warm Bodies. This is another zombie movie, but done a little differently, where the zombies are the main characters and we actually like hear what they're thinking. It's like narrated by one of the zombies and they start to evolve, they can start talking, and yeah, and it's a love story too. So it's more of a comedy romance film than a horror film, but it's about zombies, so I threw it on the list anyways. I'll count horror comedies. If it's a comedy, I still count it if there's some horror elements in it. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. This is PG-13, by the way, also, but that doesn't hurt it, in my opinion. Next up, this is number 8, American Mary. This is by the Soska twin sisters. They did See No Evil 2. And this one is a rape revenge movie starring Catherine Isabel. A young medical student struggling to pay tuition is drawn into the shady world of underground body modifications. Yeah, there's some interesting like body horror in this, and one lady gets surgery to make herself look like Betty Boop. And one lady gets surgery to make herself a Barbie doll, so she like removes her tits and tries to like remove as much of her like privates as she can. And then her boyfriend gets really pissed off. It's really weird. It's a unique rape revenge movie. I think I actually reviewed this movie. This was like a patron request, so you can hear more of my thoughts on it in that video. The Conspiracy. This is a like mockumentary found footage film about conspiracy theories. And it's a Canadian found footage movie. Let's see, by director Christopher McBride. A documentary about conspiracy theories takes a horrific turn after the filmmakers uncover an ancient and dangerous secret society. Very engaging, beginning to end. I had a lot of fun with this one. Very creepy in the third act. When they get to like the secret society, they like break in. They pretend like they're cult members, and there's like the purge siren. Like anytime that siren's in a movie, it instantly like gives you goosebumps, and it's terrifying. So yeah, the third act is really intense and it's very interesting. I really enjoyed the movie. And this is on Tubi, so check it out. One of the better found footage movies. Grabbers. This is an Irish creature feature comedy horror where people survive by getting as drunk as possible. I really liked that concept. How Irish of a movie. So yeah, if you get drunk, the creatures they don't want to eat you because if they do, and you got a lot of blood and a lot of like alcohol in your system, it like kills the monsters. So the like whole second half of the movie or the whole third act, everyone like gets into the bar and they're like getting really shit faced, trying to survive. It's funny. I really like the characters and the premise of this movie. It's a blast. Check it out. I think this one's on Prime. VHS 2. I haven't been giving my ratings, but Stitches was a 7 out of 10. Everything up until this point was an 8 out of 10. And now we are officially at number 5, and we are in my 9 out of 10 zone. So this is a 9 out of 10, my favorite of the VHS films. Yeah, easily the best in the VHS franchise. And this franchise doesn't seem like it's going to die any day soon. I heard they're making another one. Yeah, I already reviewed this movie, so check out my thoughts on that video. That third segment, I think it's the third one, the cult one of the best segments in any anthology ever. You're Next, listed as 2011, but I know it definitely did not get released until 2013 because that's when I saw the trailer and it came out in August 2013. And this is easily my favorite home invasion horror movie ever. I just love the final girl in this film. One of the best, if not the best, final girl ever. Just very smart. And you got these 3 guys breaking into this house, and she's picking them off. She's setting up like Home Alone traps because she grew up on like a survival camp or something. Like her father was very into survival and whatnot, and taught her everything, and it paid off. And she's fucking these guys up one by one, but then there's a twist, and I did not see it coming the first time I watched this movie. It's got Barbara Crampton in it, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. This is by director Adam Wingard, who did one of those VHS segments in VHS 2 in the recent Godzilla King Kong movie. And so yeah, you're next. If you want to watch one of the best home invasion movies, watch You're Next. The soundtrack, the score, incredible. Also, loved it. Next up is The Conjuring, the first Conjuring film. Man, this was one of the scariest films I saw in the theater. I remember seeing this at the theater with my girlfriend, and she was like grabbing my hand, squeezing it so hard. Every time something scary was happening or about to happen, she would get really like intense and like squeeze my hand, about broke my hand. And the opening of this movie like gave me chills. The whole Annabelle opening, man, I love this movie. It's damn near perfect. Yeah, I kind of borrow some things from older haunted house films and exorcism films. It kind of turns into The Exorcist in the last moments, but it's done so well. The style, the camera work, the characters, the performances. James Wan really just knows how to direct a great horror movie, and this is another one. So yeah, I reviewed this movie also, and the second Conjuring. So again, more videos you can check out if you haven't. Number 2, the Maniac remake. One of the best remakes of all time. I think it's better than the original. I know I'm not alone on that. Again, soundtrack, the score of this film by Rob. Phenomenal. Like the best score in recent memory. I listen to it a lot on Spotify. It's fantastic. The kills, the gore, K&B effects. Again, I reviewed this movie also. Don't need to read a synopsis. I'm sure you know what it's about. But man, the idea of filming this movie in POV was just a brilliant idea. I love how they did it, and some of the like creepy mannequin imagery within that poster. It's an awesome poster. Man, such a fucking awesome film. It's a 10 out of 10. We are in 10 out of 10 territory. So this is a 10 out of 10. Number 1, what could it be? Also a 10 out of 10. Another remake, and that is The Evil Dead. Yes, I love it. It's my favorite of the Evil Dead franchise. I'm sure you know that if you watched my Evil Dead ranking and my Evil Dead review. It's not the most terrifying film you'll ever experience, like the tagline says, but it's the most awesome film you'll ever experience in the theaters. Saw this in the theaters with my brother-in-law. Absolutely loved it. I've loved it every time since. I've seen this movie probably the most in the franchise, and it's just so fucking awesome. This is probably my favorite remake. This one, Maniac, and The Thing, top 3 awesome films. It rains blood at the end. The chick licks a switchblade or a box cutter and cuts her tongue in half. The body horror in this, the gore, the deadites in this, the way they are in this one, I think they're the most terrifying in the franchise. This is definitely the scariest movie in the franchise. The other ones weren't really trying to be scary. The first one was, though, to a degree. I mean, there's a little bit of humor in there, some silly shit in there, but yeah, this one's easily the scariest, and it's my favorite one. I mean, it just kicks ass. Again, you want to talk about scores? I love the score in this one, and that third act is just beautiful. Love it. Absolutely love it. So 10 out of 10 for Evil Dead 2013. So, other films. Let's talk about 2013 some more. Got time, why not? So, like I said, I watched 50 movies, and one of the movies was Hansel and Gretel. I just threw that movie on the list at the very bottom. I didn't know where to put it because it had been so long since I had seen it. I didn't rewatch it for this, so I just threw it at the bottom. But here's my least favorite movies from 2013. Sharknado. I'm not into that franchise. I'm sorry. I know it's got some fans that like the so bad they're good films, but to me, these films aren't so bad they're good. They're just so bad. They take themselves seriously. Like the humor is not even funny. Like there's nothing funny about these movies. I'm just rolling my eyes the whole time. Barbarian Sound Studio is such a weird fucking movie. I don't even understand what the hell it's about. I don't even know if there is a story. It's just people in a sound studio making sounds for films, and it makes no fucking sense. The Last Exorcism Part 2, a terrible follow up to The Last Exorcism, which was in my 2010 episode. If you didn't watch it, I won't spoil where it was, but it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, found footage film ever. Um, so, what else? Let's talk about some good movies. Movies that just missed the list. So, Curse of Chucky, gotta shout it out. Because I'm a huge Child's Play fan. It's my favorite franchise. It just missed the list. Kind of pained me not to put it on the list, but I had to be honest with myself. Which is better, Stitches or Curse of Chucky? Stitches is more fun. Evidence, found footage film, half found footage, half not found footage, I guess, half regular movie with Rhoda Mitchell. This movie would have made my list had the reveal at the very end not shit the bed. This movie was so engaging, so awesome, and then that twist totally shit the bed. It just didn't make any sense for the characters, like the motivation and what they did. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You explain it to me how it makes sense, because to me it did not. Cottage Country. This has the actor from Tucker and Dale versus Evil. This is a really fun horror comedy. I love how it ends. Won't spoil, but yeah, it's like a couple about to get like engaged, and someone accidentally gets killed, and they have to cover it up, and then they have to keep lying to everyone, and they have to like they have to keep lying, trying to cover up their mistake, and it's just really fun. Wolf Creek 2, probably the one I prefer. I think I prefer over the first one just because of that kangaroo scene alone. John Dies at the End. This is a very interesting film by Don Coscarelli. Some probably wouldn't even consider this horror, but I would. No One Lives. WWE film. And it has WWE wrestlers in it, or at least one. The Seasoning House. I think this is a Irish film, if I'm not mistaken, or British. I'm not going to talk about these movies for long. I'm just shouting these movies out. So write these movies down. Check them out. The Seasoning House. Sightseers. Insidious 2. Lords of Salem, my favorite Rob Zombie movie. And Would You Rather. And shout out to the Carrie remake. I actually liked the Carrie remake. It's not better than the original, but I think it's a little underrated. And then I guess The Purge. I mean, The Purge is okay. I would give it like a 6 out of 10. I just, with a premise like that, I was expecting more from this movie. And to me, they just kind of dropped the ball. Where, W-E-R, the werewolf kind of found footage mockumentary type of film. Some good gory moments here and there. It has the lead actress from Final Destination 2. But just saw that one for the first time recently, and I'm already forgetting like what I didn't like about it. So I wish I wrote notes, but yeah, it was a good like first half, but the second half I wasn't so fond of. All Hallows Eve. That's kind of a good anthology movie because of the Terrifier segment. I wasn't crazy about the other segments, especially the Alien one. I thought that one was terrible. Antiviral. This is a Brandon Cronenberg movie. Very unique film. Mama by Andy Muschietti, who directed the It movies. And a lot of people love this movie, so I'll shout it out because a lot of people love it. So in case you haven't seen it, check it out. Stoker. It has a high rating. I think it's overrated. It's a good, well-made movie, but I just wasn't really that into it. 6 out of 10. It's all right. Haunter. Check out that one. And Hell Baby, I thought was really freaking ridiculous. I enjoyed it somewhat. It has some cringy moments for sure. It's kind of like scary movie humor. And 100 Bloody Acres and Here Comes the Devil and We Are What We Are remake. I prefer the original, but the remake was all right. It was a totally different kind of tone. The ending was a way different ending. And yeah, that's about it. The Frankenstein Theory is a found footage movie I just watched for this yesterday, and the only reason why I watched it is because Chris Lemke was in it from Final Destination 3, and I'll watch anything with Chris Lemke. But it was not good. Like, you barely see Frankenstein in it. He's in it for like maybe 3 minutes total. You barely get a good look at him. They hired some like 7'4" actor to play him, and you don't even really notice how tall he is because of how he's framed, how little he's in the movie. Like he's barely in it, so yeah, underutilized and just not even a good-looking Frankenstein. He looks nothing like what you would think. So yeah, Frankenstein Theory, I don't recommend that. And I wish I would have rewatched The Battery because The Battery is like a zombie movie that a lot of people love. Saw it once a couple years ago. I don't remember much about it. I just I just remember one of the main characters wasn't a good actor. It's a very low budget film, but it's got super high ratings, and I just thought it was very meh. I remember the one dude was an idiot. It's like there's zombies everywhere. They could be around the corner, and he's walking around with like headsets on, like blasting music, so he wouldn't hear if a zombie was like approaching him. I thought that was really stupid. That character deserved to die because he's stupid. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Any movies on my list that you never heard of? Any movies that I didn't mention that you thought I should have? That I haven't seen? Any like other hidden gems that I've never heard of? Let me know. But keep in mind, like I said, I might be mentioning some 2013 films in my 2014 video because they all seem to lie about their release date on Letterboxd. So yeah, let me know what your list is in the comments below. Top 13 movies or top 10 or whatever you want, and let me know what your thoughts are on Shifted and Kids versus Aliens if you want, if you've seen them. And yeah, so until next time, goodbye.